Okay, this is going to be part 8 here, and we're going to start with the video here. In the flat Earth, so far we've got Tycho Brahe, the man that was murdered because he said the Earth was flat and the stars don't have parallax. We had Clavius, the man that creates the first heliocentric map. We have the gyro that doesn't work, but there's nothing wrong with it. We have the tides in Clockwork Orange. So now, one of the things that's missing so far is gravity. We don't have the gravity clue. So let's take a look at this video very quickly here.
Solar wind and penetrometer drum in the ETD.
So here we go.
I have a feather. In my right hand, a hammer. And I guess one of the reasons we got here today was because of a gentleman named Galileo a long time ago who made a rather significant discovery about falling objects in gravity fields. And we thought that where would be a better place to confirm his findings than on the moon. And so we thought we'd try it here for you. The feather happens to be appropriately a falcon feather for our falcon. And I'll drop the two of them here, and hopefully they'll hit the ground at the same time. How about that?
Yeah, how about that? Now listen to the radio after this.
Mr. Galileo was correct in his findings.
Someone's whistling at the end of it. I mean, it's ridiculous. So there's your gravity, one of your gravity clues. They test the gravity on Apollo 15, the mission that launches on Stanley's 42nd birthday, July 26th. And this is the Falcon LEM, you know, so you have the Eagle, the Falcon. You have Peregrine Productions is one of Kubrick's production companies. Eagle Films is the production company for the making of The Shining. You have the Roadrunner bird in The Shining. Danny watches the Roadrunner. You have the Roadrunner car in the Shining parking, the blue Roadrunner in the parking lot at The Shining. You have 42 vehicles in The Shining parking lot. You have Hawk Productions is another Kubrick's production company. And of course you have Minotaur Production. Let's not forget that. These allegories, there isn't one allegory, there's numerous allegories. So once you find the Minotaur, you go, wow, there's a lot of other ones here that are repeated over and over. And this one is a birds category. You have Admiral Bird, you have the Falcon, the Eagle, and it goes on. But I just want to point this out. This is the Falcon. This is the mission that launches on Stanley's 42nd birthday, July 16th, 1971. And here they are doing the test for gravity at the 1/6 G on the moon. And they do it appropriately with a falcon feather and a hammer, just like Thor's hammer. And we're going to close this out now. I also want to show you this one. It's very clever. This is the movie The Shining. At chapter 11 and chapter 12, we hear loons, the loon bird.
Amazing how much activity's going
Listen
on
carefully.
today.
Yes, well, the guest.
So that's a loon call. Anyone who's lived near a lake would probably recognize it, but it's a loon call. In chapter 11, and then we go to chapter 12, and we have the same thing again. If I can get it to play here. So it's a little clue to loons, Looney Tunes, Lunatic, Luna, the god of the moon. Shine on you crazy diamond, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This man is clearly a psychopath. This man is crazy as a March hare. It's a ongoing line in all his movies that this person is crazy. So you get the loons, the lunatics, the Looney Tunes. Bugs Bunny is a Looney Tune. Roadrunner is a Looney Tune. The lunatic is on the grass from Pink Floyd. You know, so there's a lot of different clues to this lunatic clue. Let's go to the images again. In the last couple of videos, I mentioned the International Astronomical Union. This is the union that decides the crater names. And in 2001: A Space Odyssey, Dr. Floyd talks to the redhead, and she invites him to the International Astronomical Union symposium. And he says, well, I got to check my schedule with my daughter. You know, she's in school. And they go, oh, okay. but it's mentioned in the movie. So we know the IAU is the organization that names these craters. Now, during Apollo, they took liberties. They named craters during the emissions. You know, you have the Armstrong, the Aldrin, and the Collins crater for Apollo 15. So they actually took existing craters, and some of them they renamed, and they named new ones. So, you know, we have a couple clues to these craters. We have the Tycho crater is the first man that could prove we didn't live on a round globe with a universe that showed real parallax. And we have the Tycho magnetic anomaly in 2001: A Space Odyssey, and we have the Clavius base in 2001: A Space Odyssey. So there's two different moon craters that were named that by the IAU. And so we were being pointed to craters. So when I saw the Apollo 15 landing map, my jaw dropped open because it's just like a potpourri of all Kubrickian clues throughout it. So here we have the Apollo 15 target point here. Where's my pointer? Hold on. That's weird. Anyway, we have the Apollo 15 landing area, right? Target point, right in the center here. We have the plane. You know, it's a flat plane, guys. I hate to tell you. I know you're probably holding on, but it isn't, but it is. You know, we have the crystal ball. We have Winnie the Pooh down here. We have 54 cards in a deck. There's 2 jokers. 52 cards is 54. And then down here we have 51. You're short of a full deck. You're crazy. You're a lunatic. You're a Looney Tune. We have Zeus's lightning, the red lightning, white lightning, Captain Joe Lightning, who's Michael Collins' father, is Lightning Joe Collins. They distill Michael Collins whiskey. We have the diamond ring. We have diamonds, clubs, spades, hearts. These are we have the club. He's beating you, the dead horse, with the club. We have the diamond. We have the spade. We have the, let's see what else we got here. Wilbur and Orville. This is the Kitty Hawk CSM, one of the Apollo CSM names. So we have Wilbur and Orville Wright. They were first in flight. So when you find the B-52, you know you're looking for what is the first day it flew. And it was April 15th. It's 52 cards in a deck. B-52. It's flying downhill. We have the Icarus crater. We have Kubrick's famous Icarus speech where he talks about he never really understood if the message from the myth was don't fly too high or to build better wings. And believe me, he believed it was build better wings. And, you know, this one is about as blatant as you get. Dome crater. You know, that's as overt as you're going to get in a hidden language. And you have chain link here. So we're weaving threads. We have a chain link. This is clever. Misty doublet. Doublets and triplets are part of Lewis Carroll's language. You link words together. Now, if you don't know what this is, I suggest go online, do Lewis Carroll doublets, triplets word game, and it'll explain what this is. I have not found any of these yet, but I'm not very good at doublets and triplets, so the word game people out there would probably find them instantly. Rio is red, okay? In the movie One-Eyed Jacks, Marlon Brando plays Kid Rio. He doesn't play Billy the Kid, he plays Kid Rio. Now, I haven't really got into this One-Eyed Jack movie very much, but I do want to mention one thing right now. One-Eyed Jacks is a movie about Billy the Kid. They don't really come out overtly and tell you this, but when you read any of the reviews of what they talk about after they made the film, it's a reinterpretation of the Billy the Kid story. So keep that in the back of your mind because that will come into the puzzle later. And it's a link to Corona, New Mexico, which is where the whole Billy the Kid thing happens. We also have the North Twin and the South Twin. So we got the Burns twins. We got the 9/11 towers at the World's Fair. We got Apollo was a twin. His twin's Artemis. You have Elvis as a twin, king of rock and roll, which is Anne Margaret's boyfriend. He also does a movie with Gary Lockwood, and the name of the movie is It Happened at the World's Fair. We have, once again, I want to double remind this. Go online and do Kubrick's Icarus speech and watch the video. It has a lot of little clues of this puzzle that we're working on right now. And you get to hear it from his first his only and his last public speech. He only did one public speech in his entire life, and that is called the Kubrick's Icarus speech. There's about 30,000 little clues in there, and I recommend you watch that because it'll open your eyes to things you never even thought of. So we have last November. November 22nd is one of the clue dates we're looking for. November is the 11th month. It's 1/11. Danny's born on 1/1. Aces are 1 or 11. You've got 21 Apollo moon astronauts, primary team and secondary team. You add them together, you have 42 total Apollo astronauts, 6 out of 7. Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Apollo 8 read Genesis on Christmas while they were in orbit. And of course, part of it is the firmament. So we have a biblical connection to the firmaments and the reading of it on Christmas, a holiday. The plane is pretty obvious. There's also, I think, a Lincoln Scarp on here. I don't think this is the full map right here. Blinky the Clown. Slim Pickens was a rodeo clown before he was a matador, and then he was a rodeo clown. So we got Blinky the Clown. You've got Tecumseh, an Indian. We've got Cochise Crater is another crater in one of the maps. Cochise was the last, I believe, Apache fighting. Oh God, I'm probably wrong on that, but he's the last of his race that fought. And later on, he talks about how he regrets giving up and that he should have fought to the death. So those are the people he's giving you in this puzzle, So think about that. You get the Lonely Hearts Club Band, Why were they the Lonely Hearts Club Band? Because Paul died in a car accident and they had a replacement. So why is it Sergeant Pepper's? Because the guy had previous military experience, so he was Sergeant Pepper's. And these clues are peppered in this language, peppers clues all over. You got Tricky Dick, the crook. I am not a crook. I am, with the peace sign and all that. You got Tennis Elbow. We're looking for the tennis ball, Billie Jean King. You've got Jeffrey Kimball, the man with the Harrison Ford's movie. Dr. Kimball is in stasis in 2001: A Space Odyssey. We have Kimball here. We have Kimball, the one-armed man, and Kimball in 2001: A Space Odyssey. Isn't that interesting? 51, a couple cards short of a full deck. There's some of them on here that are more involved. I'm not going to get into them because it'll just confuse you. And I don't even remember half of them. There's so many of them. You've got Zeus's lightning. In the Battle of the Titans, Zeus is spared by his mother. She hides him in a swaddling cloth and gives Saturn a stone wrapped in swaddling cloth, and she hides the baby. So Zeus leads the revolution, the Battle of the Titans. This is another allegorical puzzle we're doing here. So we have the Minotaur allegory, we have the Icarus allegory, which is right up here. We have Icarus is the Stanley Kubrick speech he does once where he talks about Icarus. Matthew, Mark, and Luke, I'm not going to get into that right yet, but it's a biblical reference. We talk about Genesis is read during Christmas on Apollo 8. We have Santa Domingo. So we have Santa, we have so it gives you a clue that we're looking for the Christmas date. We have brandy. Okay, so we're talking moonshine, Advocaat, beer, brandy, rye whiskey, bourbon whiskey, single malt, double malt. These are all included in this puzzle. There's all kinds of alcohols in it. The diamond, shine on you crazy diamond. Diamond is the most reflective, shiny substance known. What else? Okay, there's another part of it. Is diamond ring. We're also looking for wedding dates in this. In Full Metal Jacket, they play the song, "Going to a wedding and gonna get married." Anyway, I don't even know who sings it, but it's about getting married. So you find out Shelley Duvall is born on July 7th. You find out Shelley Duvall was married on July 7th. You find out Shelley Duvall's husband's last name is Sampson, just like the ship that refused to help the Titanic survivors. Remember I told you the names would come around? There'd be little clues to this. So diamond ring. In the making of The Shining, Jack says he wants a little rice with his dinner. So they're giving you all these little clues to wedding dates. Going to a wedding, diamond ring. Jack wants to have some rice in the making of The Shining. So keep that in mind, wedding dates, because it comes back. It's part once we're going, it gets into the date part of it more than right now. Right now, we're establishing there is a puzzle, that there are repeating themes, that there are themes based on allegorical Greek odysseys. There are card themes. There are chess themes. There are color themes. So it, like I said in the beginning of this thing, it's a very big puzzle. It's intimidating. It's so big. I think that's the reason that no one's really ever done a video like this, because it's like trying to tackle a freight train. Kubrick says in his Icarus speech, it's like trying to write War and Peace in a bumper car in an amusement park. That is the best explanation of this puzzle explanation that I can come up with. It is a perfect statement. It's like, in order to explain this, you have to know the different allegories. If you don't know the allegories, then you have to explain the allegories, and it makes it very difficult to explain this puzzle. But so it is like writing War and Peace in a bumper car in an amusement park. So keep that in mind. I know it sounds crazy, and all these things don't seem to be fitting together, but believe me, I didn't come up with this in 5 minutes. I've been working on this for 6 years. So anyway, here's the Apollo 15 landing map, and we can clearly see, if you can't see that there's hidden little clues in this at this point in this puzzle, you should probably stop watching it, because you will never see it. Okay, these things are only going to be so overt, and you know, that's the deal. It's a alchemical language. You know, the whole producing gold from lesser base metals. What you're producing gold from a simple picture that you've already seen already, and you know, trophy point. We're looking for champions. We're looking for people that, you know, Cliff. You know, J.D. Salinger's book. He wants to prevent the kids from falling off the crazy cliff. The crazy cliff is the flat Earth. You know, the edge of the Earth kind of thing. Uttermost west. You know, that's pretty clever. You can go uttermost east and uttermost west all you want all day long. You can go uttermost north, but you're never going to go uttermost south. That's not going to happen. So there's Apollo 15. Let's get off this one. You know, here's David Randolph Scott. Remember the movie that I showed you in the beginning of the movie that I said André Dutoth directed, named Carson City? Well, the star in Carson City is Randolph Scott. So Apollo 15, we have David Randolph Scott. So what's a Scott clue here? We're looking at Scots. We're looking at Scotch tape. We're looking at 3M's duct tape, 3M Scotch tape. 3M's duct tape saves Apollo 13. You know, they tape the little air thing up and they're able to make it back. You have Miss Scott. You have George C. Scott. You have Scott toilet tissue. You have, I'm drawing a blank now. But keep this in mind, Scott is a category. Miss Scott, the Playboy bunny. Once again, when we see a bunny, we're to follow that bunny everywhere it goes. So Miss Scott is a bunny. So when we find David Scott, and also there's also another astronaut named Scott Carpenter. So Scott is all over this thing. George C. Scott. You know, it even follows into parodies of this. You have Dr. Evil. You have his son is Scott. You know, and Frau Verbissina goes, Scott! She screams it out every time. And Dr. Evil, you know, cringes. This is front screen projection. There's a line here, across here. What you see back here is a projected image, okay? You could even see the lens flares from the lighting that they're using. It's ridiculous. This is the full Apollo 15 map. You just saw that. We also noticed that he's landing in areas on the moon that are involved in the flat Earth myth. Like we have the Copernicus, it's the Copernicus heliocentric model. So they land near the Copernicus crater. Let me close this one. View, zoom in. This is a much less detailed Apollo 15 map. But here the tennis elbow. We have the spur crater. So we have the horses or the horseshoe and the cowboy, and Slim Pickens was a matador, and he was a rodeo clown, and Gary Lockwood was a bull rider, and, you know, so we're into the bull, matador, horseshoe, horses, red room, blackjack, red lightning. So there's Apollo 15, less detailed. Here's Apollo 11, where they actually take a picture of New York and Manhattan and superimpose it on the actual map. We have Moltke crater. Moltke died the same day that Scatman Crothers was born, which is the same day that the movie The Shining comes out. So that's pretty weird. Here we go. They landed near Copernicus and Archimedes. Archimedes is another one of the flat Earth proofs. We have density, and if you take a block of wood and you put it in a bucket of water, it floats. So where's gravity in that situation? Anyway, density explains it. Copernicus, I got to look this guy up and this guy. I bet you they're involved in it. Poseidon, this is Neptune. So Neptune is Poseidon. Poseidon is Neptune. They just change names. Just like you have Greek is Zeus and Roman is Jupiter. Now, Kubrick gives you, earlier I mentioned that he gives you Battle of the Titans. How does he give you Battle of the Titans? In Arthur C. Clarke's book, they go to Saturn. In the movie, they go to Jupiter. So Saturn is the god that Jupiter was battling in the Battle of the Titans. So he gives you Saturn and Jupiter. Saturn's in the book, Jupiter's in the movie. He gives you Apollo, who is Jupiter's son. And so he's giving you the 12 astronauts land on the moon, the 12 Titans, the Battle of the Titans, Jupiter and his famous eagle. He had his eagle that helped him. He had his famous lightning bolts, which we've seen Lightning Joe Collins. We've seen Red Lightning, the horse, in The Killing. We've seen White Lightning, the moonshine. We've seen... what else? What was the other one? Anyway, so we get White Lightning, the Michael Collins whiskey. I'm not going to do them all again. You get my idea here. Jupiter, the eagle, his lightning. So we saw Woody Strode with Neptune's attribute, the what do you call it? His trident, the three-pronged weapon. That's the weapon that Woody Strode, the first black football player in Spartacus. Here's the Armstrong Collins Aldrin crater. They were renamed. They used to be Sabine A, B, and C. So this is the International Astronomical Union letting them rename craters on the moon for the mission. So they get there's also an Eagle crater, and there's Moltke, the guy that dies the same day that Scatman's born. Ping pong. So this is clever. It ties into the Tycho crater and the Clavius crater and the International Astronomical Union. This is, it looks good, but it's just crock. Oh, I know I put this picture in here. This picture is possible. Like if you were in this ship and you were going around, you would see Earthrise as you came around the moon. Yeah. Here's the proof. There it is. We went, guys. I better stop making the video. Yeah. Wow, I'm convinced. The high res here. Let me zoom in some more. Yeah, there it is. That's the Apollo 15. That proves you went. That's amazing. This proves that there were projection screens here. When you mess around with the contrast and the brightness, you can see where they actually, there's graffiti on the back of these things, but they actually had to sew numerous 3M Scotch light screens together. So why are we giving Scotch tape? Why are we giving Scotch whiskey? Why are we giving Miss Scott, George C. Scott? Because we're looking for Scotch, the whiskey. So we have Scotch tape is made by 3M. Duct tape is made by 3M. Scotch light screen, the only screen that would allow you to do front screen projection, was made by 3M. 3M also made the one-way mirror film that's used in this process as well. We'll get into that in a minute here, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. This is front screen project. This is the screen. This is the real movie set. That's how it worked. It's front screen projection. Here's rear screen projection, although this is a kind of a weird rear screen projection. But they have a screen back here. They project the movie on it, and then this is what's used in Clockwork Orange when they're driving the Adams probe. It's just very hokey looking because it just looks ridiculous. So he's already a front screen projection expert, a much better technology, yet he chooses to do rear screen projection in Clockwork Orange as a clue that he did the front screen projection. It's like a reversal. What is this here? This is Apollo 15 again. You've already we have last, right? You got firsts and lasts. Jungian greats. Spur. Let's close. That's not very detailed. Here's front screen projection. You have a projector here with an image in it of whatever, and you shoot it at a one-way mirror. It bounces off the one-way mirror and illuminates the 3M Scotch-Light screen that's here. You usually put something in here that blocks this light where you want areas that don't have the screen. That's where I said about the candles. One candle was shielding the shadow of the other one. This is what you do in front screen projection. Here's the camera. So the camera sees the reflection of the person through the glass because it's a one-way mirror. And the projected image that's hitting this back screen comes through the same lens. So mirroring and palindromes and all these mirroring clues are also a part of this. In the movie, Shelley Duvall has a one-touch Polaroid camera. This is very similar how a one-touch Polaroid camera works. It has a mirror in it. This is the SX70 Polaroid line where they used to have the folding one, and they had the one that was like trapezoidal shaped. This is the one that she carries. And of course, it has a rainbow on it. The only one-touch Polaroid camera that ever came out with a rainbow is the one that she has. So it's a little clue that we're talking front screen projection. Front screen projection, we can see that this is the projected screen. This is the set. Jay Weidner, Jay Weidner is a genius. I love Jay. He's just so, this guy came up with this stuff before anybody knew what the hell was going on. And so as far as front screen projection, and I recommend going out and buying his Kubrick's Odyssey. Buy every DVD or whatever Jay is selling, buy it, because the guy's a genius. But he goes through front screen projection with this, and he's the man. And so here's front screen projection in 2001. Here's the screen, and here's the apes. One eye's over here ready to get killed with the bone. That one's not that good. Okay, let's go into, so here we have the Copernicus crater. He's the one that, he's the heliocentric. We have Mare Tranquil. Now, Mare is very clever. We have all these horses, okay, in Kubrick's puzzle, and we have Buck Turgidson. Well, Buck is a male deer. A mare, M-A-R-E, is a female horse. Or is a male horse, and then you have a filly. So you have mare and filly. Isn't that interesting? It's spelled the same exact way. This is the same thing we see in Full Metal Jacket, where you have Hue City, H-U-E City. Hue City is hue city, so we have colors and hues. In Dumb and Dumber, he says, "No way! We went to the moon." These are little clues that we're looking for colors as well. So we have Mare is mare, filly, buck, doe. We have Tranquillatus. They bring back the Tranquilite rocks, the moon rocks. You have Philip Stone. You have James Mason, you have the diamond, you have the blue marble, you have the jade rabbit. And that's, it goes on and on. You can look at these maps for an hour and find more, Here we have Triplet Crater. This is a Lewis Carroll word game called Triplets and Doublets. We have Doublet Crater right here. So we have doublet and triplet. These are Lewis Carroll clues. Alsep is sleep, missing an E. You're sleeping through all this. To flank somebody is to run around in a circle and go behind them, like the Corona. You're doing the horseshoe maneuver. Weird Rock, Crazy, Weird, Crazy Earl, the Crazy Lady, the Looney Tunes, the loons that are heard on chapters 11 and 12. Bugs Bunny is the Looney Tunes. Roadrunner is the Looney Tunes. Danny is Doc. This man is clearly psychotic. This man is clearly a psychopath. This man is crazy as a March hare. This thread is repeated over and over. This picture is not possible, and you can think about this and figure this out yourself. We only ever see one face of the moon. So the moon, if you're on the moon and you're on the area where they landed, because they always landed on the side of the moon that faces us, otherwise we wouldn't be able to communicate with us. So they land on the face that faces us, that never changes. It's a one-eyed Jack. We see one face of the moon all times. We never see the dark side. So we have the Jungian dark side, the Jungian light. We see the light side. So if you're always facing Earth in the same orientation and you're not rotating, how would you ever see Earth rise? The answer to that question is you would never see Earth rise. When you woke up in the morning and you looked up in the sky, the Earth would be in the same position every hour of every day that you're on the moon if you're on the lit side. And, you know, but yet we see Earthrise. Now, some of the Earthrise pictures, as I mentioned earlier, could conceivably have been taken in a spacecraft orbiting the moon. But this one, we're not orbiting here. We're on the moon. We have a crater rock right in front of us, and we're seeing Earthrise. Earth should be at 12 o'clock noon all day long, 24 hours a day. Yet we don't. We see Earthrise. So Earthrise is another crater that they have on one of the moon maps. And this is hilarious because you don't have to be a genius to realize that this is just all wrong. The Earth is never going to rise on the moon because you're on the lit face of it. We know you're on the lit face because that's where you told us you landed. And yet we see Earthrise. So that's pretty hilarious. You know, here's another one, Earthrise. This is in orbit, though, so this could conceivably happen. The blue marble, you know, this is the same picture you've had for 37 years before they actually came up with the second one. So it's all ones. This is the first, the one, the only picture of Earth you had for 37 years. One, Apollo 1, Apollo 1-1, 11. You have one, Aces are 1 and 11. Danny's born on 1-1. Salinger's born on 1-1. One small step, one giant leap, one-eyed Jacks. You know, I could go on for 5 minutes now. And I think you could go on for 5 minutes now after hearing me say all these things. You know, there's the LEM. The hole in the LEM in this thing were just way too small. There's no way an astronaut could have even made it through these holes. So